So let's go to a question from a viewer who wants to know what our panel thinks about the University of Minnesota supplemental budget request. Are there areas that are concerning to members of the panel? What do we anticipate the reaction will be to the legislature to it? And so let's start with you, Senator Putnam. Higher education. I'm sure you're watching that University of Minnesota budget. Tell us a little bit about what you think about that supplemental budget.
Well, sure. So yeah, it was presented to our committee about 2 weeks ago, I think, and we had an opportunity to ask some, I think, very focused and insightful questions and to get some deeper context into the budget, because the budget's more than just a number. You see the number and you think, wow, that's a lot of money. But when you actually get to talk to people about it and get some context for some of the needs that the U is facing, it makes a little bit more sense. And some of the needs are infrastructural. Some of them have to do with, you got to have buildings. Some of them are safety related. A great deal of this budget is dedicated towards public safety on the U itself, which is also, I think, is an incredibly important need. And one of the last areas that it focuses on has to do with the mental health of students. And I think there are a few things that are more important than that today, not just because of COVID, but because of how hard it is to be a young person going to school. So with those three particular areas, I do think that there are definite needs that the supplemental budget is attempting to address.
Representative Igo, your thoughts? University of Minnesota supplemental budget.
Yeah, so I just had a meeting the other day with students from the University of Minnesota Duluth, right? That's a little closer to home for me. And the big thing we talked about is in the supplemental budget, correct me if I'm wrong, anyway, I believe the number is $400 million, correct? So what we're looking at, and they were telling me, only 6 to 8% of that money is going to be going to the Greater Minnesota U of M extensions. So I guess that's my biggest concern right now is if we're going to talk about doing a $400 million bill, which is a lot of money, there is no sugarcoating that. We need to make sure it's dispersed to our rural campuses as well, because you know what? I look at my communities from the Iron Range in northern Minnesota. UMD is one of the places they go to get engineering experience, teaching experience, nursing school. Those are great things that keep them in our community in Greater Minnesota. Same thing for southern Minnesota, even Crookston out there in northwestern Minnesota. So as we look at this bill and it goes through a committee, I think we really need to emphasize that let's talk about making sure the money goes out to Greater Minnesota and serves all our communities, and maybe isn't so focused on that metro aspect.
Barry, can I just chime in real quickly?
Just go ahead. Yes, please go ahead, Senator.
Just because I think that Representative Igo probably didn't see as part of the budget is that a big chunk of the Promise Scholarship is dedicated towards inspiring people to go to the outstate schools. There's a huge chunk of money that's part of the actual scholarship program, because I agree with you completely, and this is really important, so I'm really glad you brought it up, is we got to get people going to the schools in their neighborhoods. We got to return the idea of the local college that people can just go to. It's cheaper for them. They can live at home, and maybe they'll stay there and help build that community, make it stronger. But there is a huge chunk, half of some of the scholarship money is dedicated to encourage people not to go to the U in the cities, but to go to the outstate states. I say that to agree with you.
Wazlawik, your thoughts?
So I haven't. Yeah. I'm not on a committee that sees the budgets, and I haven't looked in detail. But I am a U of M alum. I went to the Humphrey School, and I went to the University of Minnesota for my bachelor's degree. I know the importance of our flagship university, our land grant university here in Minnesota, and I think that that there's always those unmet needs. I think every year we have conversations about budgets, and every year, the University of Minnesota, Minnesota State, other systems come with their asks, and we don't usually fund their entire ask. So I think it's important to think about, having the university prioritize those things, what's most important. I think Senator Putnam hit on a couple of those issues, mental health, the public safety aspects, and then the infrastructure needs, which are really, there are aging infrastructure on the campus in Minneapolis and other campuses, and I think those are really important needs, and I think it's also part of the safety and health of the campus for students too. So I think they're all important. I think every year we have these conversations, and it's sort of a matter of figuring out what those top priorities are and where we go from there.
Senator Ruud.
Well, I think I'm glad we have Senator Putnam on the committee, because it's not a committee that I touch in any shape or form. But I will say, as the legacy chair, so many of the projects that we do, the studies that we do, the scientific programs that we do, all rely on the University of Minnesota, a land grant university that is so important. The aquatic invasive species scientific lab is there. We just did a boat study there. There's so many things that intersect with our legacy and the natural environment that we use the University of Minnesota for. So I can't speak to their budget request, but I can speak to how vitally important they are to the state of Minnesota.
I don't normally get involved in the substance of these questions, but I can't resist the opportunity to jump in here a little bit with the exchange that Representative Igo and Senator Putnam had. This issue of supporting communities in greater Minnesota also affects lawyer training questions. So, for example, William Mitchell has a program really aimed at trying to train up people who live in rural communities, live someplace other than the metro area, to attend law school, mostly remotely, some on campus. And then hopefully the thought is that they would be inclined to stay in their home communities and provide legal services. And I had an experience a few years ago where the Supreme Court was giving an argument in a community in southeastern Minnesota, and one of the police officers providing security, turns out he was attending law school at William Mitchell and could not have attended otherwise, and then was going to practice law in that community. So these issues that we've identified and discussed here affect not just sort of generally an educational framework, but they extend beyond that. That'll be the last substantive thing I say today, and we'll go back to asking you questions and letting you talk instead of me. So let's